Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Discovery Channel, The Next Generation. And this is Tom O'Connor in the what we call here in New Orleans the days between the weekends of Jazz Fest. We're still kind of recovering from weekend one and some pretty awesome food, music, and unfortunately heat. It's been really hot down here. Joined as always by Rocky Messing from Alterny. Still in Tel Aviv, Rocky?
Still in Tel Aviv.
All right.
Yep.
And I'm sure me whining about the heat is funny to you. Yeah.
It was a gorgeous 73 degrees here today, so
Oh, well,
I'm
then I'm
complaining
that's
about
it. I
nothing.
don't enough
So,
about the weather. I don't even want to hear
yeah,
that. I don't think
yeah.
it got down to 73 here last night. Um, so, uh, and we are very happy to be joined today. Our next guest in the series is Kyle Poe, who is the Legal Solutions Director at NetDocuments. Kyle, where are you residing? Tell us about your weather.
Actually, I'm here at the ILTA Evolve conference in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina right now.
Oh,
So it's actually
nice.
gorgeous weather.
Yes, yes.
Uh, I'm from Houston. That's where I'm based out of. So it's
Oh,
a
okay.
little warm right there, kind of similar to the New Orleans weather, but
Yeah,
really
I
nice out
always
here today.
actually, if I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen here next week, I look on the
Take a
radar
look
map
at.
and see what's going on in Houston.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to kick this straight off so we can learn a little bit about you. Rocky, you have some questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. So, Kyle, tell us about what you do at NetDocs. What's your role?
Yeah. So I'm a legal solution director here at NetDocuments. What that is I'm a former practicing attorney. So I practiced law for 14 years. I clerked for a year, and then I was at Morgan Lewis for 13. In that time, I focused on mass tort and product liability was the focus of my career. 7 years as an associate, 6 years as a litigation partner. In addition to my mass tort practice, I also led a number of innovation initiatives at Morgan Lewis, which is how I got involved in legal tech. We built out a matter management platform as well as a data analytics team there at Morgan Lewis. Really excited about legal technology and the things that legal practitioners can do with it. Having done a lot of that firsthand, in the past couple of years with AI, things are changing at such a rapid rate. I got the opportunity at Morgan Lewis to develop a couple of solutions using AI, and so again saw really firsthand how powerful that could be to, particularly like in the mass tort product liability space. That led to this role, this opportunity here at NetDocuments, as NetDocuments is pivoting from a traditional document management system company to an AI-powered document management system. They realized that it was helpful to have practicing attorneys on staff who actually could speak with lawyers. It's one thing to sell to CIOs and IT directors. It's another thing to sell AI because that really touches on legal practice itself. So it's a newly created role here where I get to work with customers both pre-sale and post-sale to understand AI and really explore with them what they can do with it. And when they sign up, we actually do the implementation work with them. So we actually help them build out custom applications using our platform for whatever kind of use case they have, and runs the gambit from big law to medium small, as well as in-house legal departments in public sector as well. So really exciting to be able to kind of talk with different people throughout the industry and kind of mine them for the best ideas across a wide spectrum of use cases.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Can you give a couple examples of some of the use cases that first of all, how long have you actually been at NetDocs now?
About 10 months now, yeah.
10 months.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
So what are some of the examples that you've seen already? So some cool tech use of AI within the platform.
Really, it runs the gamut. Obviously, from in terms of the transactional space, you've got a lot of people find really powerful our contract playbook generator and playbook analyzer issues list apps. These are kind of out of the box apps that allow you to take precedent documents and generate playbooks from them, and then you can use those to mark up third party paper and analyze that. Really common use case, really found one. In terms of administrative use cases that firms find, doing things like identifying personal health information and personally identifiable information within documents in their DMS, being able to do that at scale. Auto document classification is a major one. Document profiling, so analyzing the documents that are in the document management system, identifying what types of documents they are, but then extracting out metadata associated with them. Obviously, that can run from litigation, court documents, getting the name of the court, the docket number, and then feeding that information in, or like M&A, you could deal type of deal, terms, et cetera, sector, industry, parties involved. And then that could be used for a number of different purposes, including populating experience management systems like Foundation. So
Hmm.
it's really cool to see like the breadth of use cases as well as how they integrate with both the DMS, but also other systems that firms are invested in.
Huh,
That's that's pretty cool.
that's very interesting. Yeah.
How did you actually? So you said you're an associate and a litigation partner, but how did tech grab you? Like what actually got you into technology? Because as we know, most partners, yes, they use technology sometimes, but it generally isn't something that's like, oh, this is so cool. I want to get more involved in technology. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that thing that sits on the side a lot of times, and you're like, okay, fine, it's there. And but what about technology grabbed you?
So early on, when I joined Morgan Lewis, I was a mass tort attorney in product liability, and we had a robust practice of about 10,000 pending cases all across the country, and we had a really poor data infrastructure. So effectively, the way that we were tracking those 10,000 cases was highly fragmented, highly patchwork of some spreadsheets, some Word documents, some paper files. It was spread across different extranet type rooms, very fragmented, very jurisdictionally based. So it was just becoming more and more cumbersome as we were growing. We were getting new clients. It was getting more and more cumbersome to do basic things like figure out what depositions we had coming up for the next week, or what cases were set for trial over the next couple of months. Doing those kind of basic tasks was just taking longer and longer the bigger we got. And so at a certain point, it became clear to a number of people, associates and partners, that we had to figure out a better way forward. And so there was like a meeting where we all got together, and they said, okay, we all know there's got to be a better solution, or we got to figure out a better solution. But they wanted somebody from the lawyer side of things to lead that initiative to make sure that IT figured out the right solution. And essentially, I was the only one who wanted to do it. This is back in 2013. Legal tech and using technology was something that most was certainly wasn't as cool of a thing as it is today, right? I think there's certainly a lot more interest to use technology today in legal practice. And I know young associates nowadays are excited about using AI. I think they see the writing on the wall, frankly, and they realize if they don't use AI, that they're going to be get left behind. That certainly wasn't the case in 2013. And so, yeah, but I thought there was a value there. I mean, I had a clear need in my practice to use technology. There had to be a better way. That led me to working with IT to find a better solution. And the legal tech market wasn't as well developed as it is today, right? We didn't have the vendors that we do today. So we ended up going through that buy versus build calculation, and we decided to build because if we had done that calculus today, I'm sure we would have bought, right? Because the tools that exist today, customizable legal technologies, there are a lot of really good platforms out there for matter management that exist that could have met our needs, but they just didn't exist yet. So it was
Right.
13 years too early. So we decided to go ahead and build our own matter management platform for our mass tort practice. We started off kind of basics of what we needed and to address the immediate pain points. But I had kind of a vision for the things that we would be able to do with it. Like once you have a matter management system that aggregates all your data and documents in one system, kind of unifying that fragmented architecture, that was sort of the first priority. The next goal was like, well, how can this then, once you have it all in one system, you can do things like reporting. And once you can do things like reporting, you can do things like analytics. And so I kind of had a vision for what the technology would enable once we solve sort of the foundational issues. And yeah, but we focused on the pain points first, and we built out a matter management system, which turned out to be quite successful. We were able to grow our practice in the time I was there from 10,000 cases to 65,000 by the time I left.
Wow.
Um, Doing it for the one practice that I was in initially led to firm management took notice, and they were like, what is this associate doing working with IT building tech? It was kind of a skunks works project. I found somebody in IT who kind of believed in me and really wanted to kind of allocate the resources to get it built. And so then firm management caught wind of it. I got a chance to demo in about 2015. It's firm management, and they said, well, this is really cool. Can you do it for others? And I said, I thought we could. And so at that point, I got kind of empowered to spread the technology to others. And so we basically adapted this platform for 9 other practice areas throughout the firm over the next couple of years, from mass tort originally to labor and employment, to vehicle warranty, to mortgage foreclosure litigation, to yeah, opioid litigation. So there's a host of different areas. Some of the matter management systems we set up were client specific or they were matter specific. Yeah, so it kind of organically led to this role where I was, in addition to maintaining my main practice, I was also developing kind of custom technologies. We were kind of like whenever someone in the firm needed some piece of technology to be built, we would come in and build it. And as I mentioned, AI, became as it was developing, came out, ChatGPT comes out in 2022, got the opportunity with my developers I had at this point to create a couple of custom use cases in the product liability space. We're focusing on these large medical device product liability MDLs, just seeing how it could help with sort of data intake and going from unstructured data that you collect to structured data that you can then analyze. And we built a real-time process that as the data was coming in, it would get spliced by the LLMs. This was GPT 3.5 at the time, so it was, the technology's advanced quite a bit since then. But it was, yeah, a really powerful use case that allowed us to ingest data kind of in real time, cut it, splice it, and then put it into these dashboards, which were updated on a nightly basis, that were both client and a partner facing.
Ted,
That's
do
awesome.
you just real quick? And this is all very impressive, like you said, especially starting in 2013. Any exposure at law school to anything like this? Was there any discussion of e-discovery or computers at all?
I mean, maybe tangentially. I don't really remember too much discussion of technology other than, I mean, electronic research, right? I mean, just like
Yeah,
that was obviously had
Right.
already come in, like
Access and
I mean, I remember taking legal research and writing when I first started. And I mean, there was natural language, yeah, like searches you could do with Lexis, but it frankly, doesn't hold a candle to the kind of things you can do today. I mean, it was
yeah,
still terms and connector searches. My background was in, I want to be a lawyer since I was 13, so I never really
yeah.
wanted to do technology, but I always kind of was, yeah, hobbyist, a computer hobbyist. So I
Ah,
did learn programming, when I was in middle school and stuff like that. So I always liked computers, but that wasn't what I planned on doing. I just saw enough value there, like
yeah,
in the kind of thing I was doing, and I think it
yeah,
helped being in mass tort, obviously, that it was this area where there was scale to it. There was a clear scale to the practice. And so there was a clear applicability to technology and the things, the efficiencies that we'd be able to get
yeah.
that might not have been as clear in other practice areas.
right.
Right.
Let me ask a random question. What's the last movie that you saw, and would you recommend it?
This movie that I saw, like maybe theaters. I'm having a hard time remembering.
Do people go to theaters?
Right.
Maybe the Willy Wonka movie, the new one that came out. I don't
Okay.
know. That might have been the most recent, or maybe Dune. I think maybe it was the Dune sequel. That might have been
Dune
it.
sequel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
recommend it?
Yeah, I
Recommend
definitely
either
would
of them?
recommend the Dune sequel. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
No, not so
So,
much
okay.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, the other one's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask, from obviously AI is a major part of your day-to-day work, but in regards to your actual work, meaning how you work personally, how do you take advantage of AI?
Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time. I mean, I think the main way that I use is probably the main way most people use it, which is like, as a, like, I put all my emails through it, right? So you write an email, you to
Jumpstart
check it
it.
for grammar mistakes. I mean, it's like the
Yep.
best grammar check ever. It
Cool.
can help you rewrite emails. I mean, it's so much better than spell check was before, right? Like, because it actually finds like if you missing words, like you forgot the word the or something. It's sometimes hard to see that if you're reviewing your own emails. Yeah, it's just so nice to be able to throw it into ChatGPT or another AI system, depending on the sensitivity of the content, obviously, and just have it clean it up a little bit. I mean, that to me, that's just like the go-to, the most immediate use case. And I think what obviously what we do in NetDocuments, having a secure version of AI that you can feed stuff into when it's like sensitive information, you can't
Right.
obviously use ChatGPT for that. But yeah, no, I mean, I use it literally every day for that. I think more powerfully is kind of helping organize thoughts, right? I mean, it's so great to be able to just take notes from a meeting that you took down in stream of conscious. There's jumbled notes, and then just say to the
Organize these.
organize this into a coherent outline. It's really powerful that. I mean, sometimes I do marketing content as well, and it's like, kind of help polish this up and it can stitch things together, and see connections that you might not have seen even in when it kind of pieces it together in this coherent form. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this. So you mentioned computer hobbyist. What are your other hobbies?
Computers, video games. I don't know. I've gotten into working out recently, so just trying to improve my health generally. But a big YouTube addict, so lots of YouTube, lots of YouTube history videos and things like that.
Cool.
Awesome. Um, okay, last question for me. Uh, what excites you the most about the future of legal tech?
Yeah, I think I mean a lot excites me, obviously, and I see lots of potential. I think the ability to see insights. I mean, particularly when you think about discovery, I think what's going to be the coolest is it seeing things that no human reviewer could have ever seen, right? Like there are things when thinking about a document review in particular. If you have an individual person who's analyzing it, there might be like little hints, little breadcrumbs in the documents that you're looking at. Like, let's say there's a conspiracy going on where people are being very careful at hiding this conspiracy and being very subtle about it. There might be little breadcrumbs that, unless you have all of it loaded in your memory at once, you might not see that thread going through all those documents. And so, even the best human reviewers today
Well, come
going through
on.
it,
You could have a big bulletin board with lots of strings going back and forth.
you could certainly do that, but that would require somebody to kind of see everything. And it might be
True.
the case that, like, if you're looking at it one document at a time, there's just certain things you're going to miss, right? There's certain connections that you might miss that, like, that really only a computer could do. And so I think that what excites me the most is the potential of AI to do things, obviously, like that no human could have ever done. I mean, right now we're at really basic level where it's like proofreading an email. That's something a human can do, and it's a force multiplier because it basically gives me, a new legal assistant that I have, like everybody in your firm. And with AI today, you can give everybody in your firm a legal AI assistant for, a really nominal amount of money per user, as opposed to like if it would cost tens of thousands of dollars to actually hire a human to do that. So that's fairly straightforward, right? That's not transformative. Like that's certainly a force multiplier, giving everybody their own legal assistant, but it's not transformative in the way that like you will be able to you feed the entire millions of documents and have the AI keep all of that in its head. This isn't what we have today. We don't have that. The context windows are too small right now. But even if you're kind of connecting the dots to the kind of things that we're doing here at NetDocuments, later this year we're going to be releasing semantic search, which is essentially semantically indexing your entire document management system, right? So then being able to ask in natural language questions of that content, because firms are essentially sitting on huge repositories of knowledge that have a lot of value, right? I mean, I would say large firms in particular, like their people are their most important asset, of course, but after that, a close second is going to be that historical
Data.
document repository, right? All of that, the precedents and knowledge and experience that's embedded in their work product. And to be able to have technology that can pre-index all of that, and then they can ask substantive questions of that, like, imagine being in a document, you're looking at a contract and you're looking at a provision and you're saying, I wonder if we've ever done a deal with language like this before, with a termination clause like this. Go find me relevant examples in our document management system that are similar, and having it come back with, hey, here's 10 examples over the past couple of years where we had a similar clause, or writing a brief and then being able to say, I wonder if we ever argued something similar to this position that we had before, and having it go into your repository and bring back relevant precedents that you've done. Like that's just going to be transformative. Those are things that no human could have ever done before. So that's what excites me the most is these technology creating value and creating possibilities that could have never been done without the technology.
Cool. Awesome. Tom,
Well,
any last questions?
no, that, yeah, that this discussion or that part of the discussion really reminds me of discussions I had 30 years ago with KM people like Ron
Mhm.
Friedman, who were trying to design systems to do much as you were talking about designing the system at Morgan Lewis, trying to design systems to do that. Just the
Tech
the
wasn't there.
limitations not only of the people but also of the computers at the time. Computers at a reasonable cost just simply couldn't ingest that, and they were able to handle it. I just felt a lot of those KM people were way ahead of their times and were kind of given the Heisman because the technology was not cost effective to do it then. I mean, do you have a sense of that that's where NetDocs, for example, is going? Because now, with AI and with incredibly faster computers and computer power, it seems like we might start to be able to do some of those things. It's really interesting hearing you talk about where they're going, where
Yeah,
your
I
company is going.
absolutely agree with that. I mean, KM was really ahead of its time. I mean, to date has only scratched the surface of the value that it's, kind of it has in mind, that it hopes for. It was, I mean, a labor problem too, right? Like if you think about contract playbooks, right? So having like these documents for each industry and each practice area, even the most just the firms that have invested the most in KM are not going to have playbooks ready at this point, like for
Right,
every single use case they could possibly want.
right.
They've had to really triage, right? To be very, to very much do a cost benefit analysis and trying to figure out where it really makes the most sense. But to be able to, with semantic search coming in the future, to be able to on the fly generate a playbook where you just type into the models, you just say, like, I want a playbook like this in this industry and have it go find the relevant examples in your repository, do some vetting even, right? So because one issue with KM is like figuring out, well, how high of quality is the precedence in your DMS? Because as a lot of folks know, like you've got like all the drafts and some of which are good, some of which are great, some of which are not good. Being able to have the AI figure out which ones are actually the best ones based on, say, how often they're looked at, right? Like if the gold star precedent documents are going to be the ones that people refer to over and over again. So that's going to show up in the usage of those documents, right? So that information's there. It just today is taken a very manual process. And so I think that the ambitions of KM have yet to be realized, even in the most advanced firm, even in the most successful KM firms. They've only scratched the surface, and they've just been sort of waiting for the. No, they've been busy, but in
Yeah,
truth, we've all been waiting for that technology to arrive. And I think even with semantic search, people have been talking about semantic search for, oh man, like 8 years now. Various players in the industry have been talking about semantic search coming and have been saying, oh, they're working on it. And I mean, we've been working on it for a long time as well. But the technologies that are going to really enable it to be possible have really only been invented within the past 12 months, right? There are certain advances that have been made at Elastic within the past 12 months that are enabling us to do semantic search within the next year that would not have been possible even a year ago.
yep,
Very
great.
true.
That's to me, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for taking your time. I know you're busy. Well, we're taking you away from Myrtle Beach. I feel guilty now. Go back to the conference and have fun. And I'm sorry, did you say it was an AI conference? Was it the ILTA AI?
I'll
It's
tell you
Delta
more.
Evolve Conference. Yeah, AI
Yeah.
and cybersecurity is the theme of this conference.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, uh, again, we totally appreciate your speaking with us, and hope this gets some good exposure for you in the company. Is one of the new folks who people should be listening to. I think if somebody wants to talk about this field, they should definitely be talking to you. Um,
Yep.
so
Thank you.
we'll let you know when this gets out, and we'll hope to see all the rest of you folks again on the e-discovery channel. Thanks for tuning in.